Welcome to today's routine. Start by finding yourself a nice comfy spot on your mat. Allow yourself to settle into a nice rhythm of breath. Start by directing that air deep into that lower abdomen. Those nice diaphragmatic breaths. And imagine breathing in all those good vibes. Happiness and healing and health. And imagine breathing out any negativity, any tension, any stress, any anxiety. Just breathe it all out and let it float away. None of that matters today. There is no negativity allowed in this routine. Just let yourself get nice and positive and relaxed and get ready for some me time. And we'll slowly shape that breath into a nice relaxing rhythm, a nice pacing of breath that helps slow things down and allows you to get into that nice state of recovery and calm. We'll take a few targeted breaths. Today's routine is focused on the hips. So on your next exhale, just imagine those quads, those legs, those glutes. Just imagine all those muscles completely deflating. Let's take one more breath here. Slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll start this routine on your left glute. Let's grab your lacrosse ball. Place that under your left glute. Start by searching through that whole glute. This could be your glute max, glute med, piriformis. And if anatomy is not your jam, don't struggle about the names or the exact locations. Just go by feel. Search for what needs attention in this muscle group. And then experiment a little with how you're addressing that tissue. Are we rolling on that tissue? Are we lying statically? Are we finding a position of restriction? Maybe that's the bottom of your squat, pulling your knee in towards your chest. This is your routine, so feel out these options. They are just options. Just feel out what your body needs. And every chance you get, circle back to your breath. Circle back to those positive vibes. Allow yourself to settle into a nice, relaxing state. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll switch to the right side. If you found a good target area on the left, let's start in that same area on the right. And if this side doesn't feel like it needs the same attention, let's keep searching. Searching for anything that feels tight, restricted, might be a trigger point. And if you don't find anything in particular, just pick a spot and go with it. And once you're there, experimenting with how you're addressing that tissue. Are we rolling? What angle? How much tension are we leaning in? And then mentally circling back to your happy place, finding that nice rhythm of breath that helps your mind find calm. And let those calming vibes just work their way through your whole body. Stay active where you need to in this position. And everything else, just let it go. Let's take one more long, slow, good diaphragmatic breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll transition into your left side hamstring. So find yourself a hard surface, might be a tabletop or countertop or a hard chair, and just place that lacrosse ball under your left hamstring and just search through that tissue. Look for what needs attention. The hamstring is a big muscle group. You can be carrying tension up tight to your glute, could be down by your knee, could be in the middle, could be the medial side, the lateral side, or somewhere in between. The only way to know what's going to need attention is by searching. And the only person that's going to know that is you. So let the video be your guide, your starting point, and let your body be your feedback. And slowly morph this exercise into a version that your body needs today and is going to benefit from the most. And once you're there, center yourself back onto your breath. Challenge yourself to get as passive as you can in this position, relaxing through the hamstring, relaxing through your face, your head, your neck. Still breathing in those positive vibes and breathing out tension and negativity. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath and we'll shift to the right side. Once again, if you found a good spot on the left, let that be your starting point on the right if you feel like you need it. And if it doesn't feel like you need it, feel free to keep searching. And once you've found your area of interest for today, settle back to your breath. Nice relaxing rhythm with your breath. Mentally staying in your happy place, getting as passive as you can. And being aggressive as your body's telling you it needs today. Generally, a higher pressure in that hamstring will give us a deeper release. But more is not always better. Always pay attention to how much pressure you're applying and how your body's responding. If we're going so tight with that pressure, other areas are tensing up, just ease off on your happy medium and settle in. Keep your attention on your breath. Nice relaxing rhythm and shape of breath that helps you find calm. So use one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh it out. And we'll shift our attention into your left QL. Your quadratus lumborum extends from your ribs down to your pelvis and sits just outside your meaty muscles of your low back. And we find the easiest way to hit this is lying on your back with that right hip slightly raised. So you're directing some of that pressure towards your spine. And just feel out what you need today. Feel out what area needs attention, what specific tissue is tense. Experiment a little with how you're addressing it. Sometimes getting some movement through the hip can help that QL area settle down. Pulling the knee in towards your chest. And again, all of these cues are just options. Allow yourself to settle into what your body needs today. Every chance we get, circling back to your breath, getting as passive as you can. Living in your happy place with those positive vibes. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath and we'll move to the right side. So if you found a good spot on the left, feel free to use that as your starting point on the right. And if it doesn't have the same tension or need the same attention, feel free to keep searching. Look for what this side needs and adjust accordingly. Feel out what that level of pressure is going to be today. You can roll on this tissue, you can lie still You can move the hip through range. These are all options, all stuff for you to test out. And no matter what you do, always paying attention to your body's response. If there's any pain, that's a sign to stop or slow down. Continue to adjust until you find the right version of this for today. Mentally staying nice and chill. Letting those calming vibes just work their way through your whole body. Nice deep diaphragmatic breaths every chance we get. Breathing through the nose every chance we get. We'll take one more breath here. And as we sigh out that breath, we'll move into a left side lizard. So let's get into an extended lunge with that left leg forward. Feel it stretch through those glutes. And let your torso drop towards your mat. And if you have the mobility for it, you can drop all the way to your elbows. Otherwise, you can extend your arms out wide. Generally, the deeper your torso leans into this, the deeper that stretch we're going to feel. Once again, use the video as a guide. Use your body's feedback to help refine. Once you're into this stretch, get nice and passive. Any muscles that feel like they're holding you back, mentally hit that off switch. And in 10 seconds, we'll gently get active by attempting to start a lunge through this left leg, activating through those glutes. And let's go ahead, starting with nice easy tension, squeezing through those glutes, pressing into that heel, ramping up that tension as we go. Let's finish with a big squeeze here. Last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Squeeze through your abs, through your hip flexors, actively pulling that chest closer to your mat. Trying to pull yourself deeper into this stretch. Let's finish with a big squeeze here. Last 5, 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax, nice and passive. Submit to that position. Mentally go back to your happy place. Run through your checklist. Any muscles around the hip that are on, just let them go. Any other muscles around your body, any of those stress muscles, your traps, your face, your cheeks, let them all go. Passive as you can here. One more breath, and we'll switch to the right side. Stepping that right leg through in that extended lunge position. Drop your torso into the level of stretch that feels right for today. Settle into your breath. Nice relaxing rhythm with your breath. Mentally go to your happy place. Getting as passive as you can through that right hip. As passive as you can mentally. Just settle into the level of stretch that feels right today. Nice relaxing breaths. And in a 10 count, we'll gently get active through this right hip. Again, by pressing that right heel into the floor and activating through the glute. And let's go ahead, starting with nice easy tension. Pressing down into the floor, using that right leg, using the glutes, actively squeezing, ramping up that tension as we go. Big squeeze here to finish. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Squeeze through the hip flexor, through your abs, working to pull that chest closer to the floor. Ramping up that tension as we go. Let's finish with a big squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax, nice and passive. Submit to the position. Breathe out that tension, just let it go. Nice relaxing, happy vibes. Relaxing through your feet, through your hips, through your core. Let's take one more long, slow, deep breath here. As we sigh out that breath, we'll transition into a seated fold. So legs extended out in front. Letting that chest drop towards your shins. Feel out the position that feels right today. The knees do not need to be locked. They can be slightly bent. Feel out what feels right today. As long as they're pain-free, getting a good stretch through those hamstrings, through your glutes. Find a position that allows you to get real comfortable here. Almost like you're ready to fall asleep in the position. Nice relaxing rhythm with your breath. And in 10 seconds, we'll gently get active by pressing your feet into the floor and attempting to pull your chest up away from your shins. And let's go ahead, starting nice and easy. Attempting to reverse this stretch, ramping up that tension as we go. Let's finish with the big squeeze here. Last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Let's try to actively pull that chest closer to the shins, working within your pain-free limits, ramping up that tension as we go. Let's finish with a big squeeze here. Last 5, 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Let's get nice and passive. Just submit to that position. Relax into the pose. Run through your checklist. Anything that's on, just turn it off. Breathe out that tension. Circle back to your happy place. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And let's come to our feet into a standing straddle. Let's spread those feet apart at a reasonably challenging width, where we're getting a bit of a stretch through that inner thigh, groin area. Let that chest drop towards your mat to find another stretch through those hamstrings, and just feel out whatever position feels right today. You want a little bit of groin stretch, a little bit of hamstring stretch. Feel out what your body needs. If you have the range for it, feel free to use the floor for some support, pressing your palms on the ground. Maybe getting your head all the way to the floor. Just settle into the end of your pain-free range. Center yourself back on your breath. And in 10 seconds, we'll gently get active through the groin by attempting to squeeze your feet closer together. And let's get started with nice, easy force. Squeezing through that groin, attempting to pull your feet closer together, ramping up that tension as we go. Let's finish with a big squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Squeeze through your outer thigh, your glutes, attempting to pull those feet further apart. Attempting to pull yourself deeper into that stretch, ramping up that tension as we go. Finishing with a big squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Let's get nice and passive. Run through that checklist around your hips, the hamstrings, the quads, the groin, anything that's on or working that we don't need. Just breathe it out. Let it all go. Take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. Let's work ourselves into a reverse tabletop for some hip counter rotation. So knees and hips bent at 90 degrees. You're going to place your hands on either side of your knee for opposing directions. And we're going to work your hips in opposite directions. You're going to push into one knee, pull in the other, resisting with the hips, and switching back and forth every 3 seconds. You're going to start each rep with a breath into your belly. As you exhale, push into one knee, pull into the other. Slowly ramping up that tension as we go with each rep as we work our way through this minute. And let's just place your fists in between your knees and gently squeeze into those fists for a couple of counts, squeezing into those fists and relaxing. Let's take a breath out, come into tabletop for some left side hip circles. We'll start by gently moving your hips through a giant circle, starting by bringing it into your chest, adducting it out to the side, tracing the outer limits of your hips as you bring it back into extension, and finishing by pressing that heel up to the sky. And this is going to be done at your own pace, within your own range, your own version here. And with each subsequent rep, challenge yourself to get a little further into your end range along all of those corners of your hips. As you pull the knee into your chest, really give it a good squeeze. Each rep, really squeeze it out to the side and adduct it. Really press that heel up to the sky. These last few, let's give it a good squeeze. We'll finish this rep, exhale, and we'll switch to the right side. We'll start by feeling out the range through this right hip. Nice giant, deliberate, slow circles. Making that hip work, especially where you feel like you struggle. Attempt to carve out new range here. Just being a tiny bit more aggressive with each circle. It can be helpful to give yourself a second wind push around those corners. When it feels like you've hit a wall, give a subtle push further into that corner. Just being conscious to work within your pain-free limits. Let's give it a good squeeze here to finish off this last 10 seconds. And we'll finish off this rep. Take another nice, deep, relaxing breath. And we'll sigh out that breath, and we'll call it a day. Thanks for joining us here today. Hope your hips are feeling great after that routine. If you're liking the program, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.